Alright, Jay Swift here, doing my official prediction video for UFC 148. I've wanted to do a video of the like for quite some time, but never really got around to it. But I've done some previous videos of the Stanley Cup and the Euro Cup, which proved surprisingly popular for whatever reason. And since this is easily the biggest MMA fight so far we've had this year, I figured it would, be quite fitting for me to do an official prediction video for UFC 148, Silva versus Sonnen. Clearly, this is a highly anticipated rematch. In fact, it's probably the most anticipated rematch in history of anything ever. And going into the fight, you have to look back at the previous fight from August of 2010. So we've had about 2 years waiting for this fight to actually transpire. I've already gone on record as saying that fight from August 2010 is my all-time favorite fight in MMA history, but I do not think that this time around is going to be a repeat. There is a potentiality that Sonnen can kind of go in there and manhandle Silva like he did during the first fight. Also have to remember, Silva supposedly had a pretty severe rib injury going into that fight, which is probably fabricated. And Sonnen was, testing 16-1 for TRT. So basically that was Anderson Silva, who was far from 100%, taking on, Chael Sonnen when he was about 200%. So, and there's a fight that Silva still won. So going into this fight, it's kind of, a lot of people are kind of hesitant to make any grand proclamations, but I'm going to buck the trend. In fact, I'm pretty confident in my selection that I will bet something really outlandish as sort of a capital for my predictions here. Lots of things could happen before then. Sonnen could show up to the weigh-ins tomorrow, being like 40 pounds overweight. So lots of stuff could happen before then, kind of throw it off. But, just kind of knowing what we know now and assuming that there are no shenanigans are going to transpire, I think that this Saturday night in the main event, Anderson Silva will defeat Chael Sonnen. He will defeat him in round 2 by TKO. Basically, what I expect is going to happen is a repeat of the Yushin Okami fight, where Silva just goes in there and just picks him apart. By the end of the first round, he's just, a couple of decomposed bones in the middle of the octagon. I just don't see Sonnen putting on a repeat of what he did 2 years ago. And, definitely after his Michael Bisping fight earlier in the year, there's definitely some key weaknesses there in his technique. There's an outside chance he might get a takedown or two, but I think Silva is just going to dominate this thing, keep it standing, and Sonnen just won't get anything going on the ground. I think Silva's going to go in there pretty much, and due to Sonnen, what he's done to Vitor Belfort and Yushin Okami since. So, yeah, go ahead and make an outlandish wager, and I'll accept it. I'll shave my head if Anderson Silva does not defeat Chael Sonnen this Saturday night. So yeah, I'm feeling quite confident about that. Okay, also on the main card, you've got Forrest Griffin taking on Tito Ortiz in what is probably going to be Tito Ortiz's last fight. A lot of people are picking Forrest Griffin to win this one, but I think crazy things tend to happen at these 4th of July shows. So I'm actually going to go with a dark horse pick, and I'm going to have Tito Ortiz winning his last fight. Not only winning, but actually finishing his final fight in the UFC when he defeats Forrest Griffin with a submission in round 3. Also on the main card, you got a CUNG actor taking on Patrick Cote. Patrick Cote is going to mess CUNG up. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I've got the returning Canadian defeating former Strikeforce middleweight champion by KO round 1. We got Dong Hyun Kim taking on Demian Maia. I don't know. It's not going to be a really interesting fight. I think Maia, he's looked really disappointing his last couple of fights, but I think he has enough in his gas tank to put on a quasi decent performance here. So I have him winning by decision. Now going on the fights nobody really cares about. I've got Chad Mendez defeating Cody McKenzie by submission in round 1. You're doing the inverse of the popular pick. We got Mike Easton taking on Ivan Minjavar. I think Easton will win this one round 1 by knockout. Now the real undercard stuff. I got Tabo taking out Numa Armageddon Diva by decision. I think Melvin Gillard will defeat Fabrice Camos by round 2 knockout. I think Konstantinos Felipe will defeat that Fukada guy by decision. I think Shane Roller will get a decision win over John Alessio. And I think this Izquierda guy will defeat Oliveira round 2 by knockout. So yeah, to kind of restate what I already said, I've got Silva defeating Sonnen, barring some absolutely crazy shenanigans transpire in the fight. Yeah, I think this will pretty much put an end to the Silva-Sonnen rivalry. And Silva, I don't know how many more fights do you have in him. Yeah, so I don't think he's going to have too much trouble here. And after that, Sonnen can go back to doing what he does best, which is getting subbed by middleweight fighters like Demian Maia. So there you go, my official UFC 148 Silva versus Sonnen picks. Just remember, I said it first.